It's it's logically impossible for you to beat Bayern. They're already strong without poaching the players. So then poaching the players, they're now freaking unbeatable and freaking invincible. You have to talk about this. I mean, we have to address this fully. I keep on bringing this up, but people just keep ignoring me, and I think I'm tired of getting ignored because what is happening right now is serious. It's messed up, and I think that we have to have a proper discussion about this. So let's just, because we have to go back into the past and just, do a little bit of a timeline, but let's just look at the lay of the land. Bayern Munich, over this summer, the past few transfer windows, got Upamecano, got Nagelsmann, and now have taken Sabitzer. They took them from Red Bull Leipzig. Red Bull Leipzig are one of Bayern's title rivals. You would say that maybe Leipzig have superseded Bayern Dortmund in being the closest challengers to Bayern. So what is happening is very sick, because almost as if as soon as Bayern see a title challenger, they say, okay, what can we take from them? What are the best pieces we can take from them to therefore not only weaken them, but also strengthen us as well? So Leipzig, who even with Nagelsmann and Upamecano and Sabitzer still have no chance against Bayern have even made it even less of even a possibility of them saying what's up to them by taking pretty much the spine of that freaking team. And you say to yourselves that, you see, we have to look at this at many different angles. From the Bayern fans' point of view, they're not doing anything wrong. Nothing they're doing is illegal. Nothing they're doing is against any laws. Nothing they're doing is against any practices, because in football, you can buy whoever the hell you want. And as long as you just go through the proper transfer channels, you can buy whoever the hell you want. So there is nothing in football that says you can't buy the best player from your title rivals. There's nothing in the rule that says you can't buy the manager from your title rivals, because what should happen is a title rival will never sell to another title rival. Hence why, obviously, Levy was very hesitant of allowing Harry Kane to go to Man City, because, Tottenham have not gone for a title since Leicester City won the Premier League title, but just the idea of selling them to a team that could potentially be a title rival, it makes no freaking sense. So really, if you're a Bayern fan, you can easily say that, why blame us? Blame Leipzig. Leipzig don't have to accept our offer. They could easily reject our offer. There is nothing that says that Leipzig have to accept what we're offering them, because you shouldn't sell to them, but it's what happens. But you now have to look at, from our point of view, from a football fan's point of view, from a guy looking from the outside in, why should we watch the Bundesliga? Apart from just looking at players, enjoying football, and just for scouting as let's see which up-and-coming interesting players are in Germany, because of course, I think the most exciting talent in Germany right now is your boy Jamal Musiala, who looks to probably be in that echelon of one of the next quality players. So apart from just looking at players, what is the interest of watching it from a competitive point of view in terms of who's going to win? Because the excitement of watching a league is who's going to win. That's why for so long Serie was boring, because the same team won. But back in the day, it could have been Juventus, it could have been Inter Milan, it could have been AC Milan, it could have been possibly Roma. So there were many different teams. Premier League, it could be it could be United, it could be Chelsea, it could now be Man City. It could be Liverpool. It could have been Arsenal back in the freaking day, way back. So that's sort of part of the excitement of which of these teams can say what's up. But if you have a case where Bayern Munich have already dominated the league for so long, and not only have they only dominated the league, you are now poaching players from your title rivals, making this even much more of a no contest, because we have to now rewind ourselves back to Dortmund. Because before Klopp arrived and did what he did for Dortmund, Bayern Munich, they were set to just completely rule the entire league. Because based on the players that they had, based on the likes of, what Robben was doing, what Ribery was doing, Schweinsteiger, Boateng, they had pretty much the spine of Germany's team, Bart Simpson, Neuer, Schweinsteiger, Muller, and so forth. You were like, no one's going to touch them. So here comes Klopp, a guy that just rolls in and completely brings in this brand of amazing, superb, direct, attacking, exciting gegenpress football, and does what many people did not really anticipate. Deservedly pips Bayern Munich to the title, I believe, twice. So what you thought was, my gosh, the Bundesliga now finally has a two-horse race with two really good teams. And what this now does is it makes people interested in it, just like how people will be like, aha, the Milan derby, aha, El Clasico, aha, what's it called? The Manchester derby, City against United. So it gets people excited, and that's where you now saw the whole Der Klassiker what was coined, because the idea of Der Klassiker was we now have the German classic game between two normal teams. But here's the absurdity of calling it Der Klassiker and trying to say this is our own German El Clasico. Unlike in El Clasico, there's only been once in the history of all time, where a player has gone from either Real to Barca, from Barca to Real, and that was Figo. And when he did so, I think it was the last time that any player ever did. And I think even it was Montalvo saying that, there's like now a gentleman's agreement where no player can go directly from Barca to Real or from Real to Barca. So El Clasico works because you're not having a case where Real will take Barca's players or Barca will take Real's players. So for the most time, they get to keep the players. Therefore, those games were always competitive. But it is stupid you trying to sell us Der Klassiker when you literally took all the best players from Dortmund. So you take a Götze, you take a Lewandowski, you take a Hummels, but you still have the dust and the cheek to call it Der Klassiker. No, you're almost treating us like if we were stupid. And you see, by you doing that, forget Bayern, you're a fan and so forth, but we can't take your league seriously. We can't respect your league because you respect a league if there are quality players spread out. Quality players spread out. Therefore, more competitive games. Therefore, it's tough to win the league. Because when you look at the Premier League, the quality players are all spread out amongst all the top 4, top 5, top 6 teams. So they're all spread out, and very rarely do you see a top player from top 6 club join another top 6 club. That happens very rarely in the Premier League. But for the Bundesliga, for Bayern Munich, you are completely and utterly cannibalizing the league, because by you just poaching the very best players and now the freaking managers of your close title rivals, it seems as if you're not interested in any competition within the league. So we thought Juve were going to do 10 in a row. How the hell does anybody stop Bayern from doing 10 in a row? How? Like, it's a case of where if Bayern continue to do what they're doing, i.e. poach the very best players from their title rivals, they'll never be stopped. They can't be stopped. It's almost a case of where it would be dot times 5. Anybody that is to win the Bundesliga ahead of Bayern Munich, they would receive the dot times 5 dub from me. Because that is degree of mother freaking difficulty if you're able to freaking do that. But it's logically impossible for you to beat Bayern. They're already strong without poaching the players. So then poaching the players, they're now freaking unbeatable and freaking invincible. But that's why I use the whole thing of degree of difficulty and parity and competition, because competition is what makes football fun. Having to try hard and having to go against quality players is what makes it fun. Bayern against Dortmund, if Dortmund were allowed to keep their players, that would have been an awesome, amazing Bundesliga title battle. Imagine if Dortmund kept Lewandowski, Hummels, and your boy Götze. Those would have made for some incredibly fascinating Der Klassiker games. It would have been awesome. And therefore, you would have really seen a proper title challenge where this team and this team. So these days, even if with 15 games to go, you see like either a Leipzig or a Dortmund or a Wolfsburg close to Bayern, no, don't talk, because I already know how it's going to end. Because Bayern are just far too good, and these other teams just won't be able to outlast Bayern. But at the end of the day, the flip side of it is, unlike PSG, Bayern can cannibalize the league, but can still do well in the UCL because they've won 2 trebles in the last decade or so. And they still perform well in the Champions League, and they've performed well than PSG. So that's why it's almost because you almost think that if there's hardly any competition for you here and you're destroying the competition, surely you should suffer in Europe. But it just shows you how much better Bayern Munich are run than PSG because Bayern Munich are a proper football club. They're not a holiday camp, and they are one of the best run clubs on the planet. They can streamline and beat the crap out of the Bundesliga, but can still come in the Europe and still say what's up. Hence why now they're still a threat, and I'll always take Bayern Munich far more seriously than a freaking PSG. But as a football fan, I just think it's unfortunate that the Bundesliga has not allowed to be the very best league that it can. Because I feel that if players were spread out and Bayern Munich now had to go up against really quality players and top players and had to face them in those one-to-one games and over a 38-game season, it just makes the league better. Bayern will still win. They still win more than they lose, but it would be far more exciting. How is it exciting in the way that it is if Bayern are taking these players? Like the vid, please, subscribe if you're new, and comment below and let me hear your thoughts. One love. Become a Patreon member. Get access to exclusive videos and also get access to the podcast to the Saturday and the Sunday hangouts. Head over to patreon.com/halfwop to gain all these goodies while also supporting your boy HH.